What's going on, everybody? Christian Hernandez here with Sports Video Group. We're here with yet another edition of our On the Pitch series. We're here to talk to our friends in Major League Soccer. We're going to head down to the Sunshine State, let me get that right, and speak with Geena Catalano. She's the manager of events and fan engagement for Orlando City SC and Orlando Pride. Geena, how are you doing? How's your day so far, and how's the season so far?
Hey, Christian. Thanks for having me here. Day has been good, bright and sunny, as you mentioned, down in the Sunshine State. But yeah, no, things have been good. Just getting ready for 2 Pride games back to back this week. Just going through that grind.
Right.
But things have been good. Yeah, just steady busy with two teams playing with fans, and another one also Toronto here. So it's been good.
Awesome to hear. We'll get a little bit more into Toronto because that's one of the unique things that you guys are doing this year. But before I get started, before the MLS season began, you guys are always hosting the national team, the women's national team for the SheBelieves Cup. It usually bounces around, but Orlando City and Exploria Stadium is always one of the venues to be featured in that tournament. How did you guys use that tournament to, I guess, get yourselves ready to go for the MLS season this year?
Yeah. So that's been really cool working with US Soccer, because I'm somewhat new to Orlando City here. And so we've worked with them a handful this year, as you mentioned, and a little bit last year. And so, having US Soccer come in is really, really great experience working with them, and bringing in multiple teams and tournaments here. And so I think it was good for us to kind of gauge how the fans would react to being back.
Right.
And even though we had fans last year for City, we didn't for Pride, for our women's team. So, and that market fan base is a little bit different. So that was kind of cool to see how the attendance was going to be and to get used to opening up that stadium for fans, because we hadn't been doing it for a while. But I think too, just getting us ready for season. The SheBelieves Cup is a handful of double headers, so as you can imagine, a good amount of workload. So right. Being able to kind of transition back on to season from our off season, and work with US Soccer and everything, I think that was like I said, just kind of really good for us to just get back in the swing of things. And they have a really great team that they come down from Chicago, and they make it a lot of fun for us. So, that's always, like I said, a really good time to work with the crew from Chicago, and host the national team, which is just a huge honor for them to pick our stadium. So it's been fun for sure.
The trio of players on that national team call Orlando home. I believe it's Ali Krieger, Ashlyn Harris, and Sydney Leroux. So it's not like it's far from home for them. They're used to this place, and it's one of those cool things you guys do every year. And I attended it in New Jersey when I was there, actually before the World ended, up in Red Bulls Arena. I think it was like March 8th, so a couple of days before Ground Zero. Exactly. And yeah, that tournament is always fun. So yeah, great to hear what you guys do for the national team. But for Orlando City and for Orlando Pride, what are you guys doing inside the stadium, inside Exploria Stadium, in terms of in-venue elements and kind of the match day atmosphere for the fans that are attending?
Yeah, for sure. So our team manages all of the in-game production and entertainment, which is obviously super fun. And we've had to get creative this year, right? As most of you guys, I'm sure, have with the pandemic. But yeah, so we manage all of our production staff. So I'm currently in our production room here, and this is where we house, our engineer and our camera crew, our PA, DJ. So we manage all of that staff. And then we work with our design team to get all of the video board creatives and LED content done and uploaded. And we manage that system during the whole show, during the game, of course. And then we do, as I mentioned, all of our live hits and live entertainment. So we have an in-game host and of course our mascot. And so we manage all of those production elements and pyrotechnics and national anthem singer. And so, it's been a little dialed down, I'd say, obviously with the pandemic. And so we're slowly starting to bring things back. And, as protocols get lifted and whatnot, I think we're going to start to see, again, more flexibility with what we come up with and get creative. And so, but yeah, like I said, just all of the in-game presentation elements, sponsorship assets, all of that comes from our department, and tag team both City and Pride for all of those elements that I just mentioned.
Quick follow-up. During any year, Pride and City, the managing and balancing of the two, I'm sure is a tough task, right? But during the pandemic, did it make it a little bit harder because you weren't working in the same room as your colleagues, a lot of Zoom calls, maybe deadlines had to be shifted to make sure that things were uploaded. How has the pandemic, I guess, thrown a wrench into the balancing of the two?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a great question. So it was definitely interesting in the beginning because City was in a bubble, right?
Right,
So
right.
we almost didn't do much for that. So, we were able to focus on the fan engagement side, and again, not so much of the game production.
Mhm.
When we started playing back at home, it was just City. So we actually didn't have to manage the Pride team, or we're having games here. So it was a little bit easier to have the one. And so that's where, talking right now, as we're really trying to navigate, as I mentioned, the two teams, Pride and City, just trying to, again, find that balance, and also, show them equally the amount of love that we want to give. Right. And then, but also create unique opportunities for both of them, so they have different identities. I think that's
Right.
very important to us, where, the show isn't going to be the same for both. And so we work really hard to, as I mentioned, just come up with creative ways for them to be their own operating entity. And the fan base is a little bit different too for our men's and our women's team. So trying to find, again, that balance that's targeting both, but showing them some love, and trying to figure out what works for each of them. I'd say we're definitely kind of getting back in the swing of things this year, now that we're both playing at home.
All right, so now the viewers understand what your job is like and how you're managing both teams. And now we throw another wrench. Toronto FC is playing at your pitch this year. Similar to, we spoke with Stacey Tiger with Real Salt Lake, and she spoke about how she's helping Jeremy Benjamin with the Vancouver Whitecaps FC because they are playing in Utah. What's it like hosting a team that you've never hosted before and another team in MLS, and making sure content? What is the kind of the behind the scenes workflows for that?
Yeah, so honestly, it's been awesome. So I work with Kadeem, and he's been great. He's their game presentation manager, and so it's actually been pretty seamless and
Mhm.
easy. They can stay as long as they want. So typically that process looks like, originally he was working, or they were working with our stadium events manager. And then once we got established to our roles and kind of who was doing what,
Right.
we just took communication over directly with the event presentation team, which again, Kadeem leads here from Orlando. And he works with us to basically make sure that all of the content, the video board and the LEDs and all of that is designed correctly. Toronto's team is going to handle, the creative elements and designing them. And then they send everything to us for us to upload and get into our system and time it out with their script. We also here, of course, being the home, or not home, but the stadium that is hosting them, we manage all of the production staff just as if we would for Orlando City. So,
Okay.
the PA announcer, the DJ, cameras, we're still organizing all of that. And so on game day, that's kind of what I'm here for, is to help manage those roles while Kadeem can focus on the show, the script, last minute changes, timelines, and all of that. And then, as I mentioned, we're both here on game day, and he's calling the show, and then I'm just here to help if I can.
Right. Okay. So to clarify, Kadeem is in Orlando with you, but is the rest of his squad back in Toronto? Are they also in Orlando? Is that
Yeah.
kind
So I actually think they're in Toronto.
of
So
okay?
they have a couple here, like a game day operations
Right.
person, an executive director, things like that. But
Okay.
I do believe most of his squad is up in Toronto, so they're holding down the fort. But from what I believe too, they have a USL team that is playing, and started, I think, in Arizona. So I think part of his team went out there for the beginning of the summer or spring. And but Kadeem's been here, and I think he's enjoying it. So
Awesome. I know it's been a struggle for Canadian teams of all professional leagues because either they're all stuck in Canada or they're playing away from their home. So it sounds like things are going great. Good job with that. Last thing before I let you go, Geena, shout out to members of your team. I know it's not just you up in the control room, and it's a whole entire crew that is getting the job done. Do you want to give any shout outs to anyone individual, or do you want to talk about how prideful, haha, there you go, Orlando Pride, how proud you are of your team, just in general?
Yeah, well, appreciate the pun. We have a lot of those around here. So I totally get it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think we have a great team. Kevin Colthart is our VP of marketing, and he runs everything game day production, my direct boss. And he is a rock star. He works so hard and is always here. I have to tell him to go home sometimes. But he loves it. He loves soccer. His kids play for our youth team, and so a lot of passion here in hometown. Just energy, which is great. And I think from a whole, I think I'll just shout out our production team that I've even mentioned before, our PA announcer, our DJ, our audio tech, our engineer. They are so dedicated, and they're always here, and they're so reliable, and we really couldn't do it without them. And they are also huge fans, and I think that really brings the fun energy on game day, because we're not just in this like dusty old booth watching a game. We're really into it, and we're paying attention, and you can definitely see the love is there for that team. But yeah, I'm sure I could talk all day. We have a great marketing team in general. We all help each other, and try to find that balance where we can as well, because there is a lot going on.
Awesome. Well, whether it's helping Toronto or just continually going back to whatever normal may be after this pandemic's over, thanks for taking the time to talk about what you do on a daily basis. Congrats on all the great work, continued success, and hopefully when it's safe enough to do so, I'll catch a flight down to Orlando and catch a match and say hello.
Yeah, please do. Appreciate your time, Christian. And if you need tickets, just call me.